welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin, I'm a geek. You're watching Kevin the Geek, and welcome back to another video where I respond to your comments, but I'm actually kind of combining this with my monthly plans video, which I normally did on separate videos, but today I'm just going to combine them. So to give you a little plan for what is going to be happening in this month, I did a poll last month where I wanted you to choose which romantic movie you wanted me to react to for Valentine's Day, and with 32% of the votes, you guys have chosen Pretty Women. So that video will be coming out on the 14th, on Valentine's Day, which I can't remember actually what day that falls on. It falls on a Wednesday, so it's sort of midweek one for that one. But for the rest of the month, we of course have got 4 Doctor Who reviews as normal, starting with the Doctor Who Dalek story, Victory of the Daleks, and then we have got 4 episodes of Steel Game, 4 episodes of the British Empire, and 4 episodes of Benidorm. We have had one new show on the channel this month, the only new show that is on this month. That came out on the 1st of February, which was my reaction to The Inbetweeners, so go back and check that one out if you missed it. And then we will, of course, be doing an episode each of some of the stuff that we've done on the channel before. So we've got, what came out yesterday was my reaction to Gimme Gimme Gimme. And we have got later on this week, Goodnight Sweetheart. And then for the rest of the month, we have got Modern Life is Goodish, Ghosts, Not Going Out, The Smoking Room, Only Fools and Horses, Chewing the Fat, Are You Dave Gorman, The Day Today, and Desmond. So some of the stuff that you're always going to be familiar with. I have got another poll running at the time of speaking, and that is for what movie you would like me to react to in March. So I'm actually going to be doing 2 reactions in March. So there's going to, 2 movie reactions in March. One of those will be the community choice one, which is currently a choice out of 5 movies, which is Indiana Jones, the first one, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Back to the Future, Lethal Weapon, Mission Impossible, or Gladiator. And at the time of this of me recording this, it is the majority of people are choosing Back to the Future, but hey, you can still put your comments and your choices down. Just go over to the community tab to check that one out. The last one, the other one that I'll be doing in March, is actually going to be one that I have chosen because it kind of ties in with Easter. So I'm going to do it on the Good Friday, the last Friday of the month of March. It is one that has a link to Easter. It is one that is British, and it is a comedy. So I wonder if anybody will be able to guess it before I release it. Not that I'm going to tell you whether it is or not. I'm going to leave it as a bit of a surprise. But there you go. There's just something to look forward to for the month of March. So I've got a little bit of a dry throat at the moment. Technically, I've actually already recorded this video, but unfortunately I had to re-record it because I had no audio in it. So yeah, that was a bit of a shame there. So this is take 2 of this video. Now the first thing I want to kind of talk about from comments wise is something that happened a week ago. So of the 500 plus videos that I've done on the channel since I started back in 2022, within 1 week, the Still Game episode last week, the reaction to Hard Nuts, that had the 5th highest number of comments on that video that I've ever had on any video. And a good half of them were basically people slagging each other off and throwing insults around. If you go back onto that video now and you look at the comment section, I have removed a good half of the comments that was on there, because ultimately I have my rules for the channel. I have the standards I set for the channel, and my biggest thing for me in the channel is I would like people to respect me and my views. I expect myself to respect your views and opinions. I also ask you to respect other people's views that may differ from your own, because at the end of the day, we are human. We have evolved to have a higher level of thinking, and ultimately we are capable of really in-depth thoughts. But unfortunately, a lot of the comments I was seeing last week just it crossed the line, ultimately. So I'm giving people this one warning now. If I see stuff like that happen again, I will begin removing people from the channel. I will block you. I will not have you be part of this community where I expect people to treat each other with kindness and respect. You can have a difference of opinion, but you can debate that difference of opinion and put across why you disagree with them. You could say that I understand your point, that you've said this about this episode or this topic. I don't agree with it because this. You can have a good, honest debate. When you start slagging people off, that is not okay. And yeah, it crossed the line for me, and I was not happy to see it on the channel. This is a place of inclusion and kindness. Don't slag each other off. That's all I ask. You can debate it, but don't slag each other off. So, I'm going to move into the actual comments I'm going to be reading out now. So, the first one was from Brett. Thank you ever so much, Kevin, for helping me get through a very iffy 2023 with your amazing videos. Happy New Year to you and yours from a very grateful Brummy. As I have said before on the channel, I have to thank you guys. You are the ones that make this happen. It's you guys that suggest stuff. It's you guys that give me the views and the likes and the subscribers. And I am on my way to 1,000 subscribers now. I'm less than 100 away. So keep pushing my videos out, sharing them, telling them to people. If you're on groups with other people, tell them about my content. You know, get them involved into the community, because I would love to just build this big, loving community. That's what I want. And you know, I had a very difficult 2023. Some people probably had an amazing 2023. If I was a small light in that, then I'm delighted to have been part of your life for however long you've been with me, even if it was just one video. Taskmaster is so overrated. It feels like they struggle to drag each episode out to meet the time requirement. I would disagree there. For me, when I watch Taskmaster, you know, there's certain shows that you can watch, or certain movies you watch, and you just feel it is dragging on. Like the episode of The Office that I reacted to. That was half an hour, and that felt like the longest half an hour of my life. When I watch Taskmaster, I'm just having so much fun. It just goes by in an instant, and so for me, I don't feel it kind of struggles to you know, that they're dragging it out. Maybe that is in later series that I've not personally seen yet. Could that be because, you know, the cast members are not great? Does the quality kind of dip a little bit? It is possible. I don't know that. And if I ever see that, I will be honest and I will say that, okay, this is not the same quality of the stuff that I enjoyed, you know, the first 5 series and the Champions of Champions edition. But of what I have seen so far, I do not feel that they've dragged it out. But that's my personal opinion. You're welcome to your opinion with that. Robert Dinmore said, Heidi High is a great show. I have the DVD box set and often watch it. As the series goes on, Sue Pollard's character Peggy will be seen a lot more. And hopefully that they'll be seen a little bit more on the channel. I did enjoy it. I mean, it wasn't one that had a great number of people viewing it, but I enjoyed the episode that we watched, and I had a lot of fun with it. And you know, I will consider doing another episode in the future for it. I love Dave Gorman's Google Whack Adventure. Dave is a master at putting on a comedic spin on things, but he has also done really good work in bringing serious tones to comedic situations, and this is a great example. I saw this show live and it was really great. His short series on America Unchained is also really interesting, funny, but with a serious point behind it. Interesting. I also recommend the book of Google Whack Adventure. It covers the same story but in more detail and places particularly some of the characters he meets that didn't get included in the show. Most books that I have seen, which are book versions of stage shows and things, a lot of the time they don't have the same impact. Dave Gorman is the kind of person who I can imagine I could just read his book and just hear him saying it in the way that he would say it, and I would probably get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I am interested in this America Unchained series that you mentioned. If you are able to find any copies of it, let me know, because so far I haven't been able to find anything, and you know, that's a bit of a rarity for me at the moment. I'm normally able to find stuff, even that's a little bit obscure. But yeah, if you know of it and you can help me find a copy, let me know. I would greatly appreciate it. The idea of a balanced diet, changing the topping on the pizza, is very relatable. That was from the Fat Friends episode. That was me for a long time. Obviously, I spoke when I did that reaction that in the last year, it's pretty much a year today that I started going to Slimming World, and for me, I've lost around about 3 stone in that year. And people who've seen my videos from the start, you know, especially like around the face area, you will know that there's a big difference there, and I've definitely put a lot of work into trying to just get a little bit slimmer and just feeling a little bit better about myself. And I actually went and tried a suit on yesterday for my friend who's getting married. I'm his best man, and yeah, the suit I tried on isn't the actual wedding suit, but I look damn good in it, and yeah, I was very happy to kind of see that. But that kind of like changing the topping of the pizza, that was me for a very long time, and I felt it was a very relatable show. Katsuhiro also commented on the Fat Friends video, saying in Japan, most all jobs have their own health exercise classes. Most have to by law. It's not illegal to be overweight, but if you choose not to use or show trying to lose weight, you can face a fine. Normally this is paying for special treatment, not regular treatment. Unless it's the company's fault for not encouraging them, then the company will be fined. All money goes towards medical insurance funds. Not sure exactly which way it's implicated. Sorry, I'm just getting a bit gassy at the moment. Sorry, because I've got a bit of a sore throat, so I'm just having to try and stay hydrated. That's very interesting, and also I think slightly controversial point there. I think I'm very much in favour of the governments of countries trying to do more to tackle the obesity crisis, I'll actually call it. I do think it is a crisis, that there are way too many people that are overweight. I think part of that is knowledge. I think some people don't necessarily just have the knowledge on how to eat better, how to exercise better and things like that. For some people it is economical reasons, you know, that they feel that it's just too expensive to eat healthily, and so they go for the cheaper, junker stuff. I think that will probably tie in with education and working out how you can do it, you know, eat healthier but a little bit more affordable. Some part of it will just be pure bone idle laziness, and then there will be medical conditions, and that's the bit that's really difficult, because how could you potentially find someone if they are overweight but they've literally got no control if you know they're gaining weight because of a medical condition or something? That's where I would find that, you know, and it's how they would implement that I find difficult to kind of understand. But you know, for generally trying to improve health levels, I'm all for it. Richard Dreyfuss, what? I thought it was James Dreyfuss. So yeah, in one of my reactions to Gimme, I mistakenly called James Dreyfuss Richard Dreyfuss, and that was basically because I'd watched Jaws over the Christmas period not long ago, and Richard Dreyfuss in that movie. So I made a faux pas and I accidentally called him Richard rather than James. I'm very sorry for that. Yeah, sometimes I make these little faux pas. Sometimes I catch them in the editing process, sometimes I don't. But hey, I always try and correct it if I can. Fun fact, Shirley used to be considered a very manly name. That changed when Charlotte Bronte's book Shirley came out. The character's name was chosen when her parents thought she was going to be a boy and they didn't change it. The popularity of the book led to becoming a girl's name. That is an interesting fact. And you know me, I love facts, so keep your fun facts coming. Don't forget the holiday episodes of the British Empire. I'm really enjoying your content, thank you. I'm enjoying you watching my content. I can confirm that I am going to be doing the Christmas specials of the British Empire. Because I can't really watch them without spoilers, I'm just going to watch them when they happen in the run. I'm not going to wait till Christmas, you know, because I believe in March is when I'd get to the first Christmas episode, so why should I pause the British Empire until December and then, you know, it's a bit too long, so I'm just going to do them. You know, I'm making an executive decision on that one. The copyright thing shouldn't get in the way of monetization. Reviews and commentary and reactions fall under fair use. Right. Okay, so with copyright and YouTube and monetization, if you're not familiar with how it works, essentially I'll upload a video and one of four things will happen. Either there's no copyright content that has been detected, nothing's happened, my video is fine to be used. That does not mean that will never happen and stay that way forever, because I've had some that's like the second episode of The In-Betweeners. I've already recorded that episode because at first I was going to do it at the end, the first episode at the end of January, and then the second episode in February. I then moved it a day later to do it for this month. And so it's all there. I uploaded it, and the first episode was blocked. Couldn't do anything with it. Second episode, it had no restrictions on it. I was like, yes, brilliant, I can get this on YouTube, brilliant. And then about a week later, while it was still private, it just suddenly said, your video has now been blocked. I'm like, fuck. So yeah, it doesn't necessarily, if you get nothing when you first get uploaded up, it doesn't necessarily mean you won't have anything. But if you do have something come up, it'll be one of three things: of either that copyright has been detected, but the owners are allowing you to show it on YouTube. That's one thing. And then the second two are basically both forms of blockages. One is a full worldwide block, and the other one is a partial block. And that will typically be certain countries they block it. Now, some ones that I've had in the past have basically been things, for example, this content has only been blocked in one single country, and that is Russia. That seems to be a bit of a common one. I think that's kind of stemmed from the whole Russia-Ukraine conflict. But majority of times when I do get the blockages, the partial blockages, it tends to typically be that it's around about the UK-based area. So it'll be like the UK, it'll be Guernsey and the Channel Islands and maybe Australia and things like that. That's typically where they get blocked. But then in other countries, they're absolutely fine. And that is what happened with the In-Betweeners episode. So I kind of left that video there, so people outside of those affected countries, they can still see the full-length video on YouTube. And otherwise, people that are in that affected area have to see the version that I've uploaded onto YouTube. It's exactly the same, there's no difference, it's just on Dailymotion. But any videos that have any kind of copyright detection on them, if you don't manage to clear them, you will simply get when I can monetize the channel, I will not be able to claim any of the money for those videos. So if you watch, like for example, one of the Still Game episodes that has got copyright claim on it, although you can see it on YouTube, what will happen is the copyright owners, i.e. the BBC or whoever it is, they will get any of the revenue, not me. That's how that generally works. And then you get the other thing, which is actual strikes, which I got recently. About a week or so ago, I got... So I did a reaction for the Christmas month where I reacted to a Charlie Brown's Christmas special. That one, when it originally came up, it was just we've detected copyright material, and there's a block on it. I disputed the block, as I do with all of my videos, just to try, because you never know. Because like Little Dot Studios, who own some stuff, they pretty much always remove any claims that I get pretty much straight away, which is fantastic. So I'm able to have their stuff on it, and I'd be able to claim the revenue for it. But with the Charlie Brown Christmas one, I disputed it. They removed the claim, fantastic. And then like a week ago, I got an email and say there's been a legal takedown request for this video, and ultimately they removed it. I cannot download it, so I can't get the footage back. I think I've still got it saved on the computer, so I'm going to try and upload it elsewhere just to be on the safe side. So I've still kind of got it. But yeah, that's given me a copyright strike, and I think whilst copyright strikes are active, even if I get to 1,000 subscribers, I wouldn't be able to get the monetization put through, so I'd have to wait for that clears, which I think is about sometime in April that would clear. But yeah, unfortunately, reactions in the way that I do them, the full-length reactions, they don't fall under fair use there. So sorry that was a bit of a long one to explain there, but yeah, I hope you've now got a little bit more of an idea of what I have to go through in the back end of stuff just to get this content out to you guys. Cindy Lewis commented on the Goodnight Sweetheart episode. I'm really happy you've decided to watch this program. I loved it and you will enjoy the rest of the series. Jim Reed also then followed up. Yes, Gary stumbled across the time portal at the end of Duckett's Passage. It's a brilliant comedy, but I won't divulge any spoilers and let you discover it for yourself. That is another one which I just tried my luck and disputed it, not expecting anything, because every other reaction I've ever seen on YouTube, because I always try and work, when I've decided to do something, I'll see what's on YouTube, try and get an idea of whether I will or will not be able to get it onto YouTube. And the other people that I've seen react to Goodnight Sweetheart, it is simply that it is that they're all on Dailymotion stuff. So I wasn't holding out any hopes for it, but they actually released the claim, and so the first episode of Goodnight Sweetheart is actually on YouTube. And the second episode, which comes out this week, that one wasn't able to. That's going to be on Dailymotion. But from what I've seen of these two episodes, it is a really good show. I really, really enjoy what they're doing with it, and I'm intrigued to see what they do, in the coming episodes and series as well. I took a trip to Glasgow for my birthday last week. I visited all the locations I could, shops, even Bobby's Pawn Tape and Osprey Heights, amongst other little places. You should do a trip. I couldn't manage to get all the locations though. I wouldn't mind going back to Scotland. I've only ever been once. I went to Strathclyde University for a weekend. I was doing something up there. I can't remember if Strathclyde is in Edinburgh or Glasgow. I know it's one of the two. I can't remember which. But it happened to be I remember when it was, because it was the weekend that the last Harry Potter book came out, and it was crazy. Like there was people queuing out the doors, down the street, trying to get to this book, and so I was just fighting my way through the crowds. It was crazy. But yeah, I'd love to go back to Scotland at some point, and if I do ever go up there, I wouldn't mind trying to do a little meetup or get together with any people that would want to kind of get together. We could sit down, we have a natter together, have a couple of drinks or whatever. I think that'd be fun. An interesting fact in Still Game, in the drama episode, the bus stop scene at the end, they actually got pished for real to make it more realistic. That is another fun fact, and I love their commitment to the role. I don't think I could do that, but I was speaking to someone the other day who basically said that they did a show once where they had to simulate smoking weed, marijuana, on stage as part of the play, and somebody actually what they were smoking was just a normal cigarette. It wasn't supposed to be, but apparently on one night they were kind of screwed over by one of their castmates, and they actually changed it for an actual spliff. So this person actually got stoned on stage when they weren't supposed to be, and apparently it gave them a better performance and a better review. So make of that what you will. Not that I ever condone taking drugs in any way, shape or form. Sparkos was one of a number of people who commented on the first episode of the full series of Benidorm, where I mentioned there was a weird, or it seemed like there was a weird cut in the episode. And thank you for everyone who came out with answers for this one. They basically said the edit was because it was a Rihanna song which actually played, and Michael asked, "Is that Rihanna?" Sam says, "Yeah," and then he says, "I like her, can you turn it up so I can hear it over there?" Sam says, "Of course I can." When she switches the music to Dance with Michael, that song has also been changed. So they basically, I think, cut out those lines because it was a different track, and so it wouldn't make sense, the lines talking about Rihanna, basically. So I guess the version I watched was like a DVD version or something like that, which explains the cuts. I mean, I never agree with those kinds of, because if you release, if you're given the rights for a piece of music for a show, you should have the rights for it when you put it onto DVD as well, or onto Netflix or whatever, Fun fact, if you didn't know, Denise Welch and Tim Healy, Leslie, were married when this episode of Benidorm was filmed. Their son Matty Healy is from the 1975. I realised that was a band. I went back and listened to some of the songs to see if I recognised them, and unfortunately I didn't, but hey, they seemed okay as a band. Sitcoms and shows in general like to do this a lot, don't they? Where you'll have a cast member, they suddenly need a minor role, like a little cameo or something being filled, and it might be like their partners come to set for that day and they go, yeah, we'll bring them in, we'll use them as a character. And yeah, I thought Denise Welch as Scary Mary was like, she was a very pantomime villain, which makes sense for Benidorm and what they do with that, because like when she's going on there, she's a black belt in karate and whatnot, and then she runs and she just sticks around like running towards Mad. Yeah, that's so ridiculous, isn't it? But hey, it was fun. It was fun. Will you be reacting to the entire series of Modern Life is Goodish? I can confirm yes, I will. At the moment, I'm doing it 1 episode a month. In future, I may move it to 2 episodes a month once I've finished any other stuff that I've got for Dave Gorman on a monthly basis. Things like Are You Dave Gorman and his important astrology adventure, which I'll do after Are You Dave Gorman. So yeah, probably this year it's mostly going to be once a month. Maybe going into next year, maybe twice a month, or maybe it may become a weekly series. I don't know. But for right now, it's just on a monthly basis. Andrew also commented on Modern Life is Goodish. Another great one. This is easily one of my favourite shows ever. I actually have a playlist of it saved to watch whenever I feel a bit down. I promise you, it just keeps getting better and better. I do have a request of you. Please can you make the image of yourself larger? I ask this because it is a reaction channel and it's kind of tough to see your reaction when it's so small. We're here to chill out with you, so it would be nice if we can see you. Sorry if I sounded patronising. Hope everyone has an amazing week. You didn't sound patronising in any way, shape or form. What you did there is give some feedback, which I was already sort of planning on anyway. The reason there was a little bit smaller was because obviously I had the background and so I had a little square. And if I made it too much bigger to make myself bigger, I ran the risk of cutting out more stuff for the actual footage, and I didn't necessarily really want to do that. Now that I've got the green screen implemented, which hopefully you guys think looks quite a bit better, let me know if you think it does look better and makes the reactions better. But because I now no longer have that background, even like at the side of me, like it might have been like that here previously, and I had all this free. Now I've got this free space, with the green screen behind me, so I can make myself a bit bigger. Again, have I found the balance right? Do you think it's about right the way I've done it now? Because again, I've still kind of played with it. Sometimes I think, on that video maybe I made myself a little bit too big. Other times I might have still been a little bit too small, but. I think I found the balance, but let me know if you think I have done. But at the end of the day, this is a community. We're here to experience stuff together, and I like to learn as I go through this. You look at some of my early footage, it was not great by any stretch of the imagination. I've been learning a lot over the last year or so. So, it's things like this and your suggestions. That's what helps me to improve things. So I appreciate any feedback you want to give if it's constructive and if it's delivered in the right way. Because if you're just going to come to me and just go, that was shit, then I'm like, how's that going to help me? If you say, I didn't like this because, or you could have done this better by doing this, that would help me. But for me, no. Unfortunately, it doesn't. A couple of comments on the Gladiators episode from Geographical. As a kid, this used to be the highlight of my Saturday night. Sinner Dragon says, as someone who was born in the middle of the Gladiators original run, I've never seen any of it, let alone the reruns, until I got Freeview towards the end of the 2000s. It was a highlight of my primary school evenings. And Gladiators is a show that I just feel transcends ages and eras, really. It's just fun. It's a fun sports entertainment show, and obviously, I have a nephew that I've mentioned on the channel. He's currently 3, and I sort of introduced him to Gladiators at the back end of last year after I'd done my reaction for for what I eventually did this month or last month, and despite him being 3, he is already hooked on it. And whenever I go around now, he asks me if I can put on Gladiators on the TV. He loves it. He loves the fighting. He loves the costumes and the music and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm going to be interested in getting him involved in the new series, which I am going to react to on the channel. I've been having a few issues with trying to get it recorded and downloaded. So yeah, the newest series of Gladiators will come to the channel. At the moment, I just can't say when that will happen. Also, on the subject of Gladiators, this was my favourite show. I loved it. I was a Cobra girl. I remember all of the My Dad Loves Jet signs. For the men, the only one I ever really remember was the Wolf. He was just the best one for me. Jet, if I remember correctly, was she the one? I think she was the youngest one. I think at the time she would have been like 19, 20, something like that. And I think she did a lot of the gymnastics and had like really long dark hair. I could be wrong there. I can understand why people would have had those kind of signs up. She was probably, well, rather, I was probably a bit too young for Jet at that time. I would have been, you know, sort of 5, 6, 7 at the time of that aired. So yeah, I was probably a bit on the young side. Although in saying that, my big crush at that time of that sort of age was Emma Bunton, Baby Spice from the Spice Girls. And I remember like running around the playground with my box of raisins, pretending that they were walkie-talkie, and I was on the phone with her every break time, pretending to plan our future wedding together. So yeah, maybe I wasn't too young for her, or maybe no, that's just a bit weird. Yeah, my mind has always been a bit nutty over the years. It really has. The next episode of Not Going Out is one of my favourites. Well, that is going to be coming out later this month. If I remember correctly, I think that'll be coming out on the 13th on Pancake Day. So make sure you stick around for that. 2 comments here kind of linked together from Andy. I do love your reactions, but I've overdosed on Del Boy these last 43 years. I know all the lines, but I don't think I can milk any more satisfaction watching these. Never thought I'd be saying that, but you never know. I might be at a loose end someday, so I may dip my toe in from time to time. Then again, you've got such an eclectic taste. There's something for almost everybody. I do try and have a bit for everyone. I don't want to just kind of pigeonhole myself. I like to have a nice kind of broad spectrum of different things, because not everyone is going to like the same things, and if I can try and have a bit of something for everybody, it helps. Maybe it doesn't help, you know, with the viewers and things, you know, because obviously the only 2 shows that really do well on a consistent basis is Benidorm and Still Game. And I would say Chewing the Fat actually when that comes around as well, but that's mostly my Scottish viewers. But yeah, I want to do something that just sort of appeals to a wide bunch of people. You know, that you can have, you know, the Dave Gorman fans, you can have the Scottish fans, you can have someone who likes everything, you know. So I love everyone who kind of comes in with it. Andy then went on to say, another quick point, what annoys me lately is interesting programs come into my window only to start watching them and they've got copyright written all over the screen with stupid harps playing in the background, or they're so heavily edited you only see a fraction, or they say, join my Patreon account, my name's Billy, not Silly. But Kevin, I'm glad you don't fall into this category, just thought I'd throw this out there. So when it comes to that, first of all, like I've said it before, the reason I like to do the full video of the show and then just me in the corner, I think that's better for reaction, because you know the main thing that you're watching the reaction for is the show, and then you'll see my reaction to it, and the focus should be the show, because that is what you're reacting to. And I can pretty much say with certainty, when I do these reaction videos, you guys are not constantly looking at me going, right, what's he doing? What's he doing? What's he thinking? What's he saying? What are his eyes doing? Is he laughing? Is he not? No, you'll be watching the content, and then you might go, oh, I know there's a funny bit coming up. Right, hang on. I'll look at Kevin and see what he thinks. Yeah, that's what I was hoping for, or whatever. It's the show's the star of the piece, not me. I'm definitely not the star. When it comes to the Patreon and stuff, I mean, ultimately, I do this as a hobby. I don't get paid for this. I don't get any money out of this. I technically would be at a loss for doing this, because I spend money on the stuff, like the apps and stuff, to be able to make like the title bits and the thumbnails and the bits and bobs like that. I've invested money in cameras and microphones and a green screen and Google Drive so that I can upload stuff that I can't get anywhere else. So yeah, I'm the one who's investing in this. There may come a point that I think if I'm going to continue this, I may have to start asking people to consider donating. Because, I mean, I would never force anyone to, but it might be at a point, for example, and say, I cannot afford to go to the next level of Google Drive, because at the moment it's only like a couple of quid for the level that I'm at. I think gives me, I think it's about 200 gig worth of space to put on there, and I'm probably about halfway through that at the moment, so that's not a lot of time that's taken to get to that point. So then to go to the next point, I might go, okay, I may say to people, if I can have a couple of people, you know, even doing £1 a month, that gives me a bit of money to be able to do that. I'm not looking to do this to get rich or anything like that, but I may have to say, look, if you want me to continue doing this in this format, I may need some support in doing that. But I will never, ideally, I never want to put stuff behind a paywall and say you have to pay in order to see this. I don't really necessarily want to do that if I can help it. So the next one, if you're looking to do more Gladiators, I would recommend International Gladiators, the 1994 final. It's where the best of the best competed against each other. It's also where British fans were introduced to the legendary Wesley Two Scoops Berry. I love Gladiators as a whole show and a concept, and if you have things that you would like me to see, then let me know, and ideally if you can also provide me with a link to it, that would just really help me out to find it as well. It would save me a lot of time trying to dig through stuff to find it, but I would definitely be interested in watching International Gladiators. Another reaction, I can't even speak today, sorry about this. Excellent reaction video to Benidorm. Glad you've liked the cast changes. Series 4 often throws some viewers. The lady who plays Noreen speaks so posh in real life. Brilliant acting from her. Yeah, she's a great actress. She really is. And I loved her in Series 4, Episode 4, which obviously came out about a week ago. That was a really great episode. That scene with Pauline was beautiful. For the most part, I mean, I have completed my reactions to Series 4. Obviously, they're just not all necessarily out at the moment. I will say, for the most part, the new cast changes have been positive. There's been, I wouldn't say there's been any characters at this point in the entirety of the show, and I'm like, I really do not want them to come back. There have been like the odd ones who have been like, if they don't come back, I won't necessarily be, sad to see them go. I won't be delighted to go. I'll just be like, yeah, okay, they've gone. But most of the cast I have really enjoyed, and we'll continue to see what happens when I come to Series 5 as well. A 10 out of 10 series finale. It is always a joy to go back on repeat viewings. It has almost everything going for it alongside your expected British chaos. Emotional drama, character vulnerability, great comedy throughout, and most of all, an amazing display of character for Gordon. From choosing Helen over his career, to looking after Carol after being fired, and saving everyone in the Centre Inferno, he's just an absolute Chad, and Chris Barry is on top form. I will say this, which I'm surprised you didn't touch on at the end. I think that drug it forcing Gordon to choose between Helen going to prison and resigning from his job is quite a low thing to do, and punching below the belt. Sure, Helen was in the wrong for theft, and Gordon didn't do great as a leisure centre manager in keeping it secure financially, but it's still a slimy and cruel thing to do, even if he has to get rid of Gordon. Still, we can say that Gordon got the last laugh. You're in for a real treat with Series 5 and the first Christmas special, which comes after that final. So much more chaos and drama to follow. What I've seen of Series 5 so far, I do love, so you're in for a treat when you get to that. I will say that I did actually touch on the stuff that you mentioned there. I agree 100% with what you said, and it is what I said in my follow-ups. The only problem is you guys didn't see it, because I basically, it was one of the few times that I didn't allow myself enough time to completely edit it all together, and that was because I decided to do obviously the 2 episodes together. So it was literally the morning of the day that the episode was going out, and I realised that part of my audio had corrupted in the end part of that episode of the sort of the roundup at the end, and I had to make a decision. Did I delay the video? Did I try and re-record bits of it? And in the end, I just didn't feel that I had necessarily the time to go back and re-record that, because I spent a good amount of time talking about it. But yeah, so I do agree with what you said, and it is basically the same kind of stuff I was going to be saying in that bit anyway. What football team do you support, Kevin? I support three football teams. I support excuse me. So I support my local football team, which is the non-league town that I grew up in the most in my years growing up, which is a football team called Kettering Town. They are most famous for a couple of things. One being the first ever team to have front sponsorships on their front shirts. First British team that ever had that. The first team that had their initials in the floodlights at their old Rockingham Road Stadium. They are also the record appearance holders in the FA Cup. Out of every single team that's ever played in the FA Cup, they've had the most appearances over Tottenham Hotspur. They're the second. And the same goes for the most amount of goals scored in the FA Cup. As of this season, currently Kettering has scored 1 goal more than Tottenham in the FA Cup. I think it's something like Kettering have got like 912 and Tottenham have got 911, or it's something like that. So I'm really hoping Kettering could be the first team to get to 1,000 FA Cup goals. That'd be beautiful. That'd be fantastic. So that's one of the teams that I support. The second team I support is Nottingham Forest, and that's through my uncle mostly. My whole family are from that kind of area, and my uncle is a die-hard Nottingham Forest fan, and through him I sort of started supporting them. And then finally, the last team I support is the one that's probably the most controversial to people. I'm probably going to get a lot of stick in there for this, but I will try and explain my reasons as well, because it's a bit of an interesting story. So that's Man United, and some people may have just left my video after hearing that, yeah, they were the first ever football team I supported. It was actually before I moved to Kettering, so before I supported them as a local team. And I was 5 when I first started supporting them, but I didn't really watch football. I'd never really watched it at all growing up. It wasn't something I was really that into at that age. But my brother's dad, my stepdad, one day we was in a shop, and he basically said, "You need to support a football team. You are not a man if you don't support football." You know, I disagree with that statement now, but at the time I was like, "Oh, okay." And in those days, at the start of a new series, a new season, all the football teams would normally have like a team photo. They'd like line up, and they'd normally like 3 lines of teams. And he basically said, you need to choose a football team to support. So look at these posters and choose a team to support. And there was various teams there. There was like Leeds and Blackburn and Man United and Arsenal and Chelsea. And I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I was 5. This would have been 1994, 95, something like that. And so ultimately, the team I chose Man United because I liked their shirts. Because I had no basis to make any other decision on it, and so ultimately I decided to support Man United. The ironic thing is, it wasn't their home kit, it wasn't their red kit that I liked. I actually didn't like the colour red at that time, and I chose their away kit that season, which was white. So yeah, that's why I supported Man United as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a, like I said, it's a bit of a weird one, but it wasn't based on any football decision. So no one can say that I was a glory supporter or anything like that. I had no basis in choosing the team, other than their t-shirts. That was it. But there is actually one person who has managed all 3 clubs, has managed Kettering Town, Nottingham Forest and Man United. So a little quiz test for you. If any of you can name that manager, put it in the comments down below. The Hooniverse commented on my Doctor Who review of the 11th hour. I have so much nostalgia for this episode. I've started watching the show at the end of Tennant's era with The Soul on Earth and Journey's End, through the special into the 11th Doctor's era. If it weren't for Matt Smith, I wouldn't have fallen in love with the show half as much. I was 6 at the time of watching this episode, and I've loved it ever since. Stephen Moffat, to me, is the better writer for the show in my personal opinion. I love his creativity and more complex style of writing. I absolutely adore the fairy tale, fantasy, sci-fi theme of his era. I will admit, for Capaldi, it took me longer to warm to, but Series 10 was phenomenal. Matt Smith is and always will be my Doctor. This episode is beautiful, and I agree it hasn't entirely age well, but it doesn't detract from the overall performances, storytelling, and character beats. It's probably still my favourite post-regeneration story. I think if you were 6 when you first started watching Doctor Who, and particularly this episode in this era, it makes sense why you would have fallen in love with it, because this whole season really was like a fairy tale in so many terms, and I'm going to mention it in different kind of reviews as I go through Series 5. But yeah, I think Matt Smith was very unfairly judged and criticised before he'd even really shown what he could do. And this episode, and I will say the next episode as well, in The Beast Below, which obviously I did another reaction to this week. Both of those, I think he really proved them wrong in what he was capable of as the Doctor. And you only have to wait until this week when you hear my thoughts on the first episode where he faced off against the Daleks in Victory of the Daleks, and my thoughts on the Rainbow Daleks, or the Skittles Daleks as people call them. So yeah, stay tuned for that. It's amazing how much work has gone into the writing for Line of Duty. It makes it amazing and entertaining. It's not just the writing, it's the directing, it's the acting, it is the music, it is everything that comes together for an amazing show. I'm really glad people enjoyed me reacting to the second series of Line of Duty. I will do that, the third series, at some point in the future. I'm really looking forward to it because it is an incredible show. It really, really is. But obviously later on this month, it is going to be the second series of Death in Paradise, which again, I'm also looking forward to, because they are both, I think, equally written and performed really well, but they're very different styles of shows, and I can't say that one is necessarily better than the other. Josh Cahill said, I beg that you sack Still Game off for a little bit and just give us Benidorm for a while. At the moment, no, because people like Still Game, people like Benidorm, and I'm going to continue doing them. However, I am considering putting Still Game on a little hiatus for the channel of maybe like a month or two. I haven't decided if I will or won't yet, but ultimately, in real life, after the 6th series of the show, they had the Hogmanay special, and then basically that was it. They thought the show was done, they went their separate ways, and didn't come back for, I don't know what it was, about maybe 7-8 years, something like that. They did do the Live at the Hydro in that in-betweening years, and then they did come back and did series 7, 8 and 9. I'm considering doing a similar kind of thing and letting there be a little pause so that I can kind of experience the wait in the same way that you guys kind of did. Not to the same levels of time or anything like that, but I'm thinking about it. But if I do that, that'll be my decision on whether I do that, to kind of give me something with that. But if I did do that, it would probably be something along the lines that I'd replace it with Rabsy Nesbitt and do maybe a series, maybe 2 series of that, and then go back into the series 7 of Still Game. Maybe put the Hydro live show in there in that sort of in between time. I don't know. Like I said, I'm still debating that at the moment. And the final comment to read out from the Who's Critic, which is about Benidorm, the series 4 episode 4 of Benidorm. The man who played Johnny Neptune was in Doctor Who in The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. That was the 7th Doctor story as the Chief Clown. I've only so far reacted to the first serial of Doctor Who, the Dalek. The An Unearthly Child one, but I am currently working on the next kind of bulk one to do the serial of the Dalek, which was the first time the Daleks ever appeared in Doctor Who. So that is something I'm working on, probably to come out in March. I met him last year. He was a lovely man. This is one of my favourite episodes because it shows the strength of Janice and Mick's relationship, and Pauline is brilliant. Great reaction. Looking forward to the next one. Well, you only have to wait until tomorrow to see that one. Pauline is great. I love her in the first 3 episodes, but when she becomes drunk Pauline, she's taking this to a whole new level. So I'm excited for you guys to see my reactions to episodes 5 and 6 as well, because yeah, she was fantastic in both of those episodes. As for Janice and Mick, they're my favourite couple, I think, in Benidorm. I've tied with it for a number of different ones over the years. Over the years? I've only been in this less than a year. So over the months. Donald and Jacqueline, they're fantastic as a couple. I kind of love Mateo and Leslie as a bit of a couple. They're not a romantic couple, but as a pairing, they're fantastic. Martin and Kate, I surprisingly, I think I liked. People probably didn't like Kate for how she is, but I personally, I did like her as a pairing for them two. But yeah, Janice and Mick for me at this moment in time, numero uno, best couple in Benidorm. So that's going to do it. That's all of my comments that I'm reading out for that came from last month. So make sure you join me again next month for my next responding to your comments video. Of the things I mentioned at the start of the video, there's one other thing that I'm thinking about doing. I've yet to decide if I will or will not. I may put something out in the community tab and ask your opinions on it, because it's relating to Red Dwarf, because this month is their 35th anniversary of the first ever episode airing. So I'm debating whether I do or do not do it. I mean, I've pretty much recorded about 3 weeks worth of the content for this month already. I've only probably got about a week's worth of videos left to do, but obviously one of those is series 2 of Death in Paradise, which is 8 episodes, so quite a bit left to do there. And I've got to do the movie reaction as well, which of course that will take up time when I do the editing for that. So yeah, I don't quite know where I am yet in deciding what to do with Red Dwarf, but I'll put that in one of the community tabs and I'll get people's opinion on that one. But if you reach this point in the video, let me know, what you think I should do for the Red Dwarf 35th anniversary, and put Red Dwarf 35th anniversary in your comments to let me know that you reached this part of the video. But that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for joining me once again, and make sure, of course, you help get people subscribing to the channel so I can get more people joined in, so we can reach 1,000 subscribers on the channel. That'll be an amazing thing to do. That's going to do it for today. Thank you once again. For now, my name's Kevin. I'm a geek, and you've been watching Kevin the Geek. Goodbye.